Welcome to the Onyx Pathcast. I'm this week's host, Eddie Webb, and with me are Dixie Cochran.
Hello.
And Matthew Dawkins.
Hello.
And this week...
What?
I haven't even started yet.
What was wrong with that hello?
Yeah.
I don't know. It made me
Unpack that. What happened there?
I don't know. I never know what Matthew's going to do. I always have some anticipation when I'm waiting. Because sometimes we're all excited and just like, hey, how's it going? And sometimes we're all like, let's be weird. And it was just, I don't know.
That's because I'm a chaotic neutral Malkavian.
What?
I'm that unpredictable. I can come out with anything at any point. Pop, whiz, bang, my old man's a mushroom, etc.
And you've just added alignment to vampire.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's what Malkavians do. I'm given to understand Malkavians are the fun clan.
That is not true in any real sense.
That's how I've written them for V5.
You are a liar.
It's the fun clan, the clan of fun.
Yeah.
As long as setting people on fire is your idea of fun, then yes.
For the Malkavian, it might be.
Right, that's true. So this week, kind of an emergency-ish episode.
Not an emergency.
Well, no, but I mean, we're recording this really close to time. There's a lot of stuff happening, but we are going to do, we got a chance to record, Travis Lay got a chance to record a couple of panels from Gen Con. So we did it last year, we're going to do it again this year. And this time we're going to do the What's Up with Onyx Path panel. So this panel's a little different than we've done it in previous years. We didn't specifically have any big announcements, quote unquote, at Gen Con. We really were restructuring kind of how Gen Con fits into our plans. We didn't have a booth there, for example. So it's more about kind of educating people and talking about all the amazing stuff we have going on. So a lot of the panel, if you've been following along, you're going to hear some things you probably heard before, because the goal was to try to educate people who hadn't been aware that we're doing things like Aberrant and Adventure, or that we're doing V5 Chicago.
If you are one of our avid readers of the Monday meeting notes and you feel like skipping this episode, we won't be super upset. That's
right.
what Eddie's saying.
Yeah.
If you know everything we're doing because you follow all of our stuff, it's okay. You could take a week off.
Right.
Or you just skip to the outro where we're going to talk more and be weird.
Yes, because we're super known for concise and on-topic outros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. To be honest, I just come here for the intros and the outros.
Literally, that's all you do.
Yeah, even in the episodes where it's all just us three and we don't have a guest.
You just kind of slide through the rest of it. Yeah.
There was one episode a while back. I forgot which one it was. It was the three of us, but for some reason, you just either you didn't have much to say for a while, or you got distracted. I have no idea, but you just didn't talk for a good chunk of the middle. And then when you came back in, I had at least one person who listens be like, I was startled. I forgot Matthew was there.
That's me being respectful to my co-hosts. Occasionally I'll chime in with a, yeah, okay. Well, that's really interesting. So yeah, we need these little sound bites again, don't we? I need to record a what are they called? Soundboard.
Yes.
A Matthew soundboard. So that if it sounds like I'm not engaged, we can at least insert a few, wow.
That's really interesting.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, really, Dixie?
Which would be funnier if I was talking, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will try my hardest, listener, dear dedicated listener who was concerned about my whereabouts, to sound a little more involved. I promise that when I'm quiet, I am listening. I am just listening attentively and probably on mute. And so when I am going, yeah, right, okay.
I'm recording.
You just don't hear me.
Right.
I've definitely had that happen recording the podcast before, where I had muted myself because Eddie was telling a story, and then I laughed or said oh, cool, or whatever, and I was like, oh, I wasn't. Oh well, you lost the moment.
Well, then you guys can both practice your ums and interruptions while we go to the panel.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yep. Sure. Sounds good.
Wow.
What?
Hello, this is What's Up with Onyx Path, Part 2. Our first one was on Thursday, so if you missed out on this, That's why we're here a second time. My name is Matt. I'm the operations director for the company. I do all of our retail. I do all of our fulfillment. Once developers give me books, I actually get them out for you to buy them. I work with our partners, Drive-Thru RPG, Studio 2, Indie Press Revolution. Studio 2 and Indie Press Revolution are selling books for us here at the show. IPR has a big 50% off sale for you World of Darkness fans, so definitely check that out. And we just debuted Scion 2nd Edition here at Gen Con. And just everyone else introduce themselves.
All right, I'm Crystal Mazer. I am a freelance writer and game developer. With Onyx Path, I wrote on Chicago by Night and for Let the Streets Run Red. And I've been helping out with the group and everything like that for many years.
Plus community content.
Oh, yeah, community content. I was part of several community content launches. So I have other stuff out there that is not official, but pretty awesome.
My name is Eddie Webb. I am a full-time freelance writer, developer, and game designer. One of my clients is Onyx Path, where I act as the in-house developer, helping to shepherd projects like Scion, Serenity Continuum, Sophie Rising, Scarland, so on and so forth. I also am the creator of Pugmire, which I just creator-owned project I do within context of Onyx Path.
Woohoo!
Thank you. All that.
I'll do my best. I'm Travis Legg. I too am a full-time freelancer. I most recently am the line developer for Scarred Lands, which is awesome. I know probably not the best audience to say this in front of, but it is my favorite D&D setting. I've gotten into trouble saying that 4 or 5 times already this weekend.
This is Travis' latest book here.
This is our latest book, the Blood Sea 5e. It's amazing, and I love it. And you should. I've likened it to like, I get to date the prom queen that I've been pursuing all through high school now. This is my favorite setting, has been since 2000 or 2001, and now I get to play around in it. So I'm ever grateful. Aside from that, I am I think the title is like Twitch programming coordinator for Onyx Path.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Now it is.
Right.
Congratulations.
So as we're ramping up the Twitch channel, I'm curating and recruiting and creating new content for that channel to make sure that you can see all of our games on Twitch. Ideally, the aim is 7 days a week. You'll be able to log on and see something. We're not quite there yet, but soon. And that's a work in progress. And then I've done a fair bit of community content, launch day content for Storypath Nexus and for some of for Canis Minor. I think I did launch day or very close thereafter. Yep. And then also like for Storyteller's Vault, I did a lot of launch day content and a couple of the style guides. So.
How about Vengeance?
Oh, right. So there's this huge thing that's been taking up most of my life that I totally forgot about. I'm coordinating for the Sluritian Vault, which is the Scarred Lands community content program. Myself and about 20 other creators have been working together to create a collective campaign where a couple creators will be working on one adventure, a couple others will be working on like a side quest. And so it's all connected as if it were like a standard campaign book. So, think, Storm King's Thunder, Curse of Strahd, that level of content creation, but it's being spread out among like 20 different community content creators working in collaboration with one another. And that has been releasing. We started rolling it out first week of July, I think, and we've got 2 products coming out every week, right up, I think, till mid-September, I think, is when it finally will be ending. So it's right in the middle right now. The fan response has been huge. It's been awesome to see. It's been nice to see some other community content stuff springing up from the creators involved and just from other people that sort of tie into it as well. So it's kind of an open invitation as well. If you're checking it out and you're interested in community content, you're looking at this and you're like, oh, there's a spot here that I think some more story content could happen. That's what the community content programs are for. That's what the Solution Vault's for. You could create, your own adventure that you could plug in with that as well. So it's been really fun and interesting to do. So that's me, I think.
All right, I'm John Sneed. I'm probably the person here who's been working with some version of Onyx Path, White Wolf, way back in the Lion Rampant games the longest. And I'm a freelance, full-time freelance writer and now developer. I've worked on almost everything. And I'm now the developer for Trinity Continuum Aeon, which is at the printers 5 years after I first started designing things. So, yay.
We got there in the end.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And, got a lot of things to do with that. Still currently working on projects as a writer with Scion and Mage. And I think that's the only things I've got ongoing at the moment. But, yep, and and Exalted. Always right for Exalted. Here since the beginning, too.
Awesome. So 2019 has been a really a year of evolution for us. We've implemented a lot of new strategies starting last year after Gen Con and rolling through a bunch of them. You've heard about a few of them already. The new Twitch setup, which Travis is coordinating, and Matthew Dawkins is building our YouTube channel and getting content there, and he's got a weekly Onyx Path News short segment. And one of the things, if you've been to Gen Con with us in the past, we've had a big booth and we've done the Gen Con brochure, and that's where we announced everything. We artificially hold news back just for that. Well, we decided during one of our big team meetings that's unfair to some of our projects, because if we're announcing 15 new things all at once, some very cool stuff gets lost in that conversation because people focus on one thing or another. So instead of holding news back for a kind of an arbitrary date, we're now going to be organically releasing news and announcing new books throughout the year as it makes sense. A couple of the press releases we have here that everybody can take one if they want. We'll start with the Blood Cults book, which is our next V5 supplement. Eddie, do you want to take that one a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Cults of the Blood Gods is kind of our book of dark magic for Vampire the Masquerade. So we go into things about vampire cults specifically and warring heresies and ideologies. Something that Vampire the Dark Ages touched on more, the modern day hasn't really gotten into. So we're actually going to go into what it's like to have those ideologies in more direct conflict, as well as faiths based up around Methuselah worship, as you're worshiping the various Methuselahs of the clans. And then also we're going to be introducing setting rules and advice for the Hecata, the Clan of Death, which the Giovanni and the Cappadocians have come to a sort of an agreement, and now have been reformed as a new Clan of Death.
Did anybody hear back Chicago by Night? Crystal was one of the authors on that. We just sent the PDF. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one. Sorry.
You always forget about me. Bloodline developer for years.
So we just sent the PDF out to backers on that, and the team is working on the stretch goals for that, and second team is working on Blood Cults, and there's some crossover between the writing teams. Yep. Plus, some of the people that worked on Chicago are also working on Modifius's Fall of London Chronicle.
Yep.
So there's some real good coordination there, which has been a ton of fun seeing the two creative teams, some of which are the same people, bounce ideas back and forth. And if you go to Modifius's booth here at the show, you can play V5 demos, some of which include Chicago by Night content.
Yep. There are also a bunch of actual plays that are out there now for Chicago by Night, using the Kickstarter backer PDF that just went out. If you are interested and have not gotten it on the Kickstarter, you can still pre-order through the backer kit. So go to the Kickstarter page or go to the Onyx Path page or look at the Monday morning meeting notes, and you can get the information to do that.
And following the Monday meeting notes or our Twitch and YouTube news segments is the best way to find out when the Kickstarter for the Blood Cults book will be launching. Our next Kickstarter is actually for Chronicles of Darkness. It's Deviant the Renegades. that should be launching towards the end of this
Yep.
month. Awesome. The target, we don't have an exact launch date yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we lock that down. We just finished the Aberrant Kickstarter.
Yep.
And on Tuesday, as the closeout for that, we announced Adventure as the next major book in the Trinity line. Eddie, do you want to take the Dragon one as well?
Sure. One of the things that we announced actually early on in the year was Scion Dragon. When we started doing Scion 2nd edition, we definitely wanted to make sure that we were covering the same rough ground as 1st edition. So we still have hero, demigod, god. That's, demigod's being progress now. God is on the way. But one thing Rich was really passionate about was expanding the world of Scion as well. Dragon is going to introduce a new 3rd faction into the Titan War. So as opposed to this being a add-on proc, you basically take Scion Origin and then you can take Scion Dragon and start playing in that direction in lieu of playing Hero. So it allows us to just take the new structure of 2nd edition and introduce some flexibility. And so this will be much more of a espionage approach to things. So dragons are much more secretive. They've actually infiltrated both the Titans and the Pantheon, which is why you see dragons in both of them, just because they've managed to infiltrate both sides of the war and manipulate for their own ends. And as opposed to a Scion of the gods, eventually being visited by their parents, the dragons starting to unlock ancient memories as they start to realize the plans, for good or for ill, of their progenitor. And also in conjunction with that, we are doing Scion's Masks and Mythos, which is a Cthulhu pantheon. This is definitely going to be kind of an alternative take on Scion, so you use this as kind of a darker view of it. And so the rules are going to be tweaked a little bit to reflect that tone, but it allows us to explore what happens when a pantheon either goes bad or just starts off bad, where they're just explicitly malevolent, and what do the Scions of those kinds of gods look like. And that's being Scion Dragon is being developed by Danielle Lazon, who's been a developer with us for many, many years. And Masks of Mythos is being developed by Chris Spivey of Harlem Unbound fame.
So are those going to be Kickstarters?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure what order we're doing them in and when, but they're coming up relatively soon because the manuscripts are getting wrapped up for those. And again, they're all being produced in conjunction with Demigods. We actually have 3 books kind of in rough parallel right now. So once those manuscripts roll in and we're happy with them, then we start prioritizing when the Kickstarters are going to be.
We'll announce what the next Kickstarter is right after Deviant.
Yeah.
So we kind of try to focus our energies mostly one at a time, except we'll hold on to that for a second. We'll get to something related to Scion. We announced the StoryPath Nexus Community Content Program earlier this year, which is our 3rd community content program. Canis Minor was the first one, Slayer Vault for Scarred Lands was the second.
Yep.
The difference about the StoryPath Nexus program is it's going to encompass all of our StoryPath games. Early on, I decided that it didn't make a lot of sense for us as a team or for you for us to do separate community content programs for every single game. Pugmire and Mao having their own program makes sense.
Yep.
Scarred Lands having its own program, but StoryPath, we're going to start with Scion. Some great content. I think Travis and Crystal have both put stuff up, has already been, and then we'll add Trinity once Trinity drops on Drive Thru RPG, and then we'll add Dystopia Rising, and They Came From Beneath the Sea, and any future StoryPath games will get their own unlock after that. But going back to Kickstarter for a second, this will be the first time we have 2 Kickstarters running concurrently. We are working with Handiworks Games to do the Scarred Lands Creature Collection. John Hodgson was the art director for Cubicle 7 for years. He designed the One Ring RPG and a bunch of their other projects.
He also is an artist on Pugmire Monarchies Mao.
Right. And I'll let Travis talk a little bit about how that's going to work with the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so, as Matt said, Handiwork Games and Onyx Path are working together on Creature Collection, and so that has basically been in process since before I came on as a developer. However, I've had the opportunity to kind of jump in and take a look around and see what's going on, and I'm stoked, and it's going to be awesome. So just as a fan of Scarred Lands, as soon as that drops, start backing it. While that's going on, in-house we're building 2 projects that will start seeing the light of day around early next year, I think is what we're basically aiming at, called The Ugman's Guide to Gelspad and Vigil Watch. And The Ugman's Guide to Gelspad is aimed at sort of introducing the reader to various areas and factions and nations across the continent of Gelspad, the main location in Scarred Lands, through its people. And so in world context, there's a series of notes and letters, communications about these factions, observations about these factions, and then you get your player-facing content. So it'll be full of new subclasses, new race descriptions, new backgrounds, things along those lines. Spells, feats, all the goodies that you love to have at your table that are explicitly Scarred Lands. And while that is in the works, we're also doing Vigil Watch, which is a series of location-based books where we're focusing on some areas that are largely important to the redeemed races, which in the earlier editions were largely portrayed either very, very sparsely or just entirely as evil monsters. So now that they've sort of come into the fold with the rest of the sentient humanoid races, we had a chance to look at their homelands and at their cultures and explore them as player options and give a little bit more meat to players and game masters who want to incorporate them. So those three things sort of all cooking at the same time, plus having the Vengeance of the Shunned rolling out the way that it is. It's going to be an exciting time, because if my math isn't horrendously screwed up, as the Kickstarter for Creature Collection is going, so it's supposed to be starting shortly, basically. I think as soon as they get the final ducks in a row from Kickstarter. That's going to be going as Vengeance of the Shunned is wrapping up, so you're going to have all this cool content. As soon as that wraps up, we're going to start rolling right into this, the Ugman's Guide and the Vigil Watch. So there's going to be a lot going on for Scarred Lands. You're going to have ample options to dive into and play with over the coming 6 to 8 months. A fair assessment, I think?
Yeah. So if you haven't checked out the new Scarred Lands stuff, now's the time to jump in, because the amount of awesome content coming out from now until into next year is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be blowing up. And right now, just to catch up on everything that's available for 5e is a relatively small buy-in, right?
Yeah.
And if you haven't checked out the Devil's Luck Twitch live game for Scarred Lands, it's amazing. They're all dressed up full in character. They're doing special effects. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. It's probably the most immersive actual play I've ever seen for any game. They really have, their costumes are completely on point. The set design is brilliant. The intro-outro videos are insane. And they are hosted on the Onyx Path Twitch channel on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's another thing, I guess, speaking of Twitch. We are generating shows internally. We're going to have some streams for Pugmire, Scion. They came from Beneath the Sea. Scarred Lands, obviously. We're also doing some partnering with other channels, where if, for example, with Devil's Luck Gaming, we're going to be hosting their streams, their Scarred Lands stream. A couple other channels that we're working on hosting partnerships with. So if you are generating, Onyx Path content, that's another potential avenue to get it out in front of people. I know Matthew Dawkins is constantly asking for lists to put on the blog of anyone that's producing actual play content or reviews or anything along those lines. But we'll also be looking for that in the Twitch space as well. So getting that information to us is the best way to make sure that we can, because we appreciate anybody out there that's showcasing our games, and we want to try to boost that signal and get your content in front of the people who would like to see it most.
All right, so you guys have questions, yeah.
Terry Robinson from Mage the Podcast. So we do an informative podcast and we do author interviews and stuff like that. So we natively don't produce any video or live play.
Sure.
Is there a way that we can modify our media? We just want people to play the darn game. We're not trying to build a media empire. Is there a way that we can get our stuff into your streams in such a way that it works if it's strictly audio? Like if we have a cover image?
I mean,
I think Matthew's YouTube efforts would be the best connection there.
Okay.
right. We have things on the YouTube channel. The last Scarredlands actual play that Matthew did with Red Moon Role Playing, still image and then 2 hours of audio. That's fine. Also, I mean, my first thing I did on Twitch was talking head show called the DM's Guild Hall, which is what you're doing, except we had cameras at our faces.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I mean that's an option too.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a question, especially, you've talked a lot about the stuff that's Onyx Path owned, and
Sure.
that makes sense. Especially since the final books for, like, Wraith and Changeling are really out or coming out right now in kind of those final stages. I don't want you to talk about any books, obviously that would wait till announcements, but could you talk a little bit about, oh yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that. Between now and what it's now looking like quite a few years before they're likely to get, like, Wraith, Changeling, and what you're hoping to pursue, how Onyx Path feels about that space.
Well, I mean, the reality of being a licensee is that we're beholden to the licensor's needs and suggestions. What part of my career was when I was working at CCP White Wolf, and Onyx Path split off. I was the internal of the company, so I was on the other side of his desk, and I have a lot of sympathy for sometimes you can't tell licensees, hey, we can't get you that answer yet because we have other things in the background that are covered by NDA. One example I can talk about, for instance, is there was a slowdown on Chronicles of Darkness books for a while because the World Arts MMO was being launched and they wanted to avoid market confusion with 2 vampires in the world. But that's something we couldn't exactly communicate to licensees at the time, although Rich was aware of that piece at least because he was used to board at CCP. So what White Wolf decides to do is ultimately out of our hands. They've been very good with us. They've been trying to give us information when they can. And like, for example, they're on vacation now in July. Just got off vacation. But they're like, yeah, we're in Sweden, so we get the entire month of July off. And it's just like,
I seem to remember that being a conversation last year.
yeah. Right. But they were nice enough to, even though they're on vacation, to check over Chicago Bank to make sure we can get it out to y'all in a reasonable time frame. So they want to work with us, and we would love to keep doing more books if they want us to, but I can't talk about, we've pitched a lot of books to them. We have to see which ones they think are good fits for what they want to see, and what we want to keep making.
Yeah, so in the meantime, though, our slate for Exalted, Chronicle of Darkness, and World of Darkness is pretty packed.
Yeah.
We can't add any more books to what we're already doing until next year.
Right.
Well, what is the limiting factor there?
What's that?
What is the limiting factor there?
Hours in the day?
To give you some context, we have a board where we track all of our projects internally, what their state is and whatnot. Last time I checked, that board has 250 projects on it across the company.
Yeah.
We're making a lot of books.
If you,
for example, we've got Wraith, Oblivion, Book of Oblivion coming out for Wraith in about 2 weeks. Also for Wraith, I just got the last story in for the brand new Wraith 20 fiction anthology, which is bringing Richard Lee Byers back to Wraith for the first time in 20 years. He's continuing his original Wraith Dark Kingdoms trilogy. I'm working on World of Darkness Ghost Hunters, which is a Mortals book about paranormal investigators for all 5 of the World of Darkness game lines. If you remember World of Darkness Mafia and Sorcerer and that sort of thing, it's that kind of book. So it's going to be morons with a camera going into haunted houses and maybe coming out.
be like ghost facers from Supernatural.
Except things actually
Except
happen.
those guys live.
Right, except those guys lived.
So for Changeling the Dreaming, we have Jackie Casada's new Immortal Eyes novel. It is in layout right now. For Mage, we have Victorian Age Mage, Book of the Fallen, Technocracy.
Those are the big ones right now, yeah.
And I'll be honest, I mean, most of the reason that I ask is, historically, you usually announce books well before you're working on them.
Right.
So the fact that everything's a about to come out, I won't lie, makes me a little nervous.
Sure.
Because
No.
like, then it's like
But-
announce and
But you have to understand also, I mean, like, we just announced a Vampire the Masquerade book. There are some other books that we can't quite announce yet because with the World of Darkness specifically, it's not up to us when we get announced anymore.
Yeah.
There are board game people who have to announce stuff. There are video game people who not have to announce stuff. The White Wolf itself, or Paradox, has to announce stuff. So we have to fall into their cadence a lot more than we would necessarily do. Whereas with Exalted and Chronicles, we're exclusive on those. So we have a little more leeway in when we announce those projects. So we can be more open about those specific World Darkness. We have a lot more people that we have to coordinate with.
And that makes a lot of sense. Even just you confirming that you pitched things. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
That's good to know, and all that makes sense.
And
I
for
appreciate that.
Vampire specifically, we're like I talked about earlier, we're sharing a lot of freelancers with Modifius to make the line even more awesome. Even though books are coming out from different companies, there's going to be a consistent voice plus Easter eggs between the books. Oh, this character sired this character. This guy hates this person.
Right, so officially on paper, Book of London is a Modifius book, but there's a decent amount of Onyx Path NDA or DNA.
Yeah.
NDA. Woo!
Those two.
Right, that.
Those are their
Very different things, turns out.
So the
Go to the hospital, that's the wrong one.
The developer for Fall of London, which is a Modifius book, is Steffi Devon, who is our Legend Lore developer and one of our most prolific authors, also
Yep.
the Promethean developer.
She worked on Let the Streets Run Red with me, so.
and just a little bit, I guess, observation. I'm pretty new to the developers pool. I might be the most recently added developer. So going from
At the
like
table,
being, what's that?
At the table, yeah.
Yeah. Going from seeing things from the, you're welcome.
I love you.
Going from seeing things from like the fan perspective, pretty much exclusively, to all of a sudden now I get an email that has literally like, how's everybody's projects going? And just the sheer amount of stuff that's on the Monday meeting notes, you can always look at that every week and see like where things are moving. But that's really the tip of a massive iceberg of things that just aren't ready to post there yet. So I mean, there's a ton in the works.
And additionally, I do want to say part of our strategy for this year was getting caught up on a couple of projects that were kind of lagging a bit.
Yeah.
Before we add more to the process, let's get books we've been talking about for 2 or 3 years out. Ghost Hunters is one of them.
Right, Ghost Hunters, like you mentioned, Trinity Aeon, we've got that out the door. Scion was running a bit behind, but we're now catching up. So, I mean, while I can understand, certainly respect, that's a little frustrating that we don't have anything immediate horizon. For us as a process, it has allowed us to clear a pretty big logjam for us.
Yeah.
And now we're in a good place to hopefully, White Wolf can start signing off some of those pitches and we can roll right into them and be in a much better place than if we got this a year ago. We can't even start this realistically for a while yet.
And if they can't, we have enough original content that's
Right.
shooting out of the pipeline.
Absolutely.
There'll be plenty to keep you going.
Yep, I saw your hand.
Yeah, can you elaborate on your interactions with Modifius? I'm kind of curious. Are they in charge of like the content for the books? You have to. Can you elaborate on how that works now? That they're in the picture?
So because of the restructure at White Wolf, it's still a little muddy at the moment. And we're still kind of sorting out the details. The way I understand how it's going to be is that normally we send pitches and approvals to White Wolf that will shift over to Modifius.
For vampires.
For Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition only. Everything else still goes to Paradox. But we're still nailing that down and what that relationship looks like. That being said, we were just recently at UK Games Expo, and we sat down with Chris Birch of Modifius and a bunch of the other people there, including their new line manager, Matt Tim. And they're really happy to work with us. Matt Tim turns out actually listened to one of my podcasts 10 years ago and was like, I was a big fan of your Whitechapel process. Like, wow, no one's mentioned that to me in years.
We're sharing writing teams between
Right.
To make them, it's all going to feel like a consistent line, even with technically Modifius publishing this book and Onyx Path publishing this book. We're sharing resources. We've got a style guide that works between the companies.
Right. So, yes, on paper, they could say yes or no to pitches and accept or reject our ideas. But in reality, there's so much overlap and there's a lot of similar ideas of where we want to go collectively that it's much more collaborative than it appears on paper.
Yeah, part of their biggest role is to make sure all of the books are awesome and that two companies aren't doing the same Hoboken by Night book,
Right.
for example.
Yes.
But for example, it makes a lot of
Not just one Hoboken by Night, but two of them.
Right. Exactly. West and East. But also, I mean, it makes degree of sense. Like, okay, Onyx Path's largely an American-based team, so we'll do the Chicago book. And Monifi's largely based in the UK, so they'll make the London book. So there's some pretty natural breakdowns that happen as a result of that. But at the same time, they respect the fact that we've been working in this property for a very long time. So there's lots of times where, for example, they were doing some structure stuff on London. They got to see some of the Chicago by Night stuff. So actually, let's restructure our book a bit to look, because you guys have good ideas in Chicago by Night. So we're also influencing how they're doing books too. So again, it's much more collaborative than it would appear in an org chart.
And then for Chronicles and Exalted, we're still the exclusive publisher for both of those.
Right.
lines. And that's a little bit more of a direct, same thing we've been doing for the last several years. And we've got some big Chronicles of Darkness books, some which have been taking a while. Deviant being an example. Geist and Hunter. Second edition.
Mummy, second edition.
Yep. Those are all in progress, various points of development. Hunter just went into editing, for example.
And Exalted, we're getting through the third edition, big splats, Lunars.
Exigence will be the next major book.
Which is brand new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a brand new Exalted type. That'll be the next major book and Kickstarter specifically for Exalted. And yeah, it's keeping the team very, very busy. We're getting close to wrapping up. If you followed the monthly Exalted Adversaries of the Righteous and 100 Devils Night Parade, every month we've released a new monster or a new NPC, and we're going to be collecting those into big books towards the end of the year. That's going through it like an editing to dev pass right now.
Mm-hmm. Any more questions? Yep.
So I know you probably get this asked a lot and everything. How close are we to the folios, Let the Streets Run Red? It's in Cult of the Blood.
So that is going through.
I'll look up right now.
Yeah, I think it, I believe everything has been submitted and is going through the development process right now. And as far as how far it is, I am not sure. It was in the Monday morning meeting notes, and I looked them over, and then I forgot them because Gen Con is a thing.
I can't search by tag on this, so now I have to scroll through all, again, 250 of these. What were you asking about?
The two Chicago stretch goals.
Yeah, the stretch goals.
And then Cult of the Blood Gods.
No, that was not asked. I remember that one. But let's see. Chicago Folio is in editing. And Let's the Streets. Yes, now's the best time for my Wi-Fi to drop out. Fantastic, thank you. I believe that's also in manuscript approval. Okay, yeah. So Let's Read Red is actually in White Wolf's hands right now for review.
Yeah.
But again, the Monday meeting blog, if you check that out, every week Rich has a breakdown of where the status of each of those is.
And then I have another question. I own a game store.
Yeah.
I'm really loving that you guys are bringing Bush back to the games. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
That's all me.
That's all him. Yeah, absolutely.
It has been received very well at our game store.
Oh, good.
But we had a couple of questions from my customers.
Sure.
One of them, particularly since we got Changeling the Lost second edition in,
Yep.
are we going to see the core books for like Chronicles of Darkness, which a lot of people are like, I'd like to have both books. Are we going to see those?
We're kind of talking that over right now. Chronicles of Darkness and like Requiem came out years ago.
Right, exactly.
And we have to make sure that there's enough drive and demand to do a big print run, which are very expensive for books that are not new. So whereas like Changeling, the Lost Second Edition, Geist, Second Edition, and Deviant, we're going to be printing them based on the Kickstarter and putting them in stores.
A lot of what I'm hearing on my local level is the Chronicles of Darkness book specifically is what they are.
Yeah, that's the one we're discussing the most. What kind of options we might have for that and how we can check on that. But as a retailer, you can come talk to me and order the POD version from Drive RPG at a discount.
A lot of people don't like the PODs. I apologize, but it's just the consensus that I'm getting from my customers specifically.
Sure. I'm just saying that's a way to get the book in now while we look at what our options might be.
So from a customer perspective who does not own a store, you said something, and this is more of a comment than a question, but that's kind of terrifying. You said we're going to be doing more than one Kickstarter in a month.
Yeah, so...
Just give me your wallet right now.
I mean, that may make me not a popular person in the room. So
No.
That would allow you to speed up things if you did more.
It's an experiment.
Okay.
It's
especially with, I have to say this because my wife is here too.
Good job.
This is it's definitively an experiment for us. This is the first time throughout the entire history of the company, we've been the licensor. With White Wolf, with Caliber Comics for the Legend Lore RPG, with Eschaton for Dystopia Rising, with Pugsteady for Pugmire and Mao. We've had a license with that entity for their IP that we published. This is the first time we're ever going in reverse. Handiworks is licensing Scarredlands to produce the creature collection for us. And that's a really neat twist on the whole structure of the company. And we decided that would be a good opportunity for us to let them run a Kickstarter. I mean, technically it'll be under our account, but they're going to produce the book, hire the freelancers, do most of the marketing. We'll, of course, help with all of the messaging, Twitch streaming, and whatnot. But we're kind of letting them run that project. And we're just coming in and saying, yeah, this is awesome, while we're going to be doing our Deviant Kickstarter.
But that being said, while we're still refining this process, we're mindful of the fact that we don't want our Kickstarters to clobber each other. So doing, like, say, Hunter 2nd Edition and Mummy 2nd Edition at the exact same time doesn't make a ton of sense at all. So figuring out projects that are not going to have a massive overlapping audience, and also just figuring out ways to make this that way, it's people are going, okay, I'm going to shoot for this versus that, because we know that's going to be a choice that's going to happen. But you're right, by doing multiple ones, that can potentially give us the option of getting more things out there. And we'd also have, right now, a case of like, okay, if this is a card game, I don't care about the card games, now I have to wait 2 months before the next Kickstarter I might be caring about. You know?
Right, and aside from the Blood, Dark, and Shadows, I don't think there's anything in common really between Scarredlands and Deviant.
The other good thing about it too is that they always run pre-orders through the backer kit. So if you can't back the Kickstarter, you can still get stuff from the Kickstarter through the backer kit. That's something that they've always done, and I've had to do it for projects and stuff because I'm like, I don't have a lot of income right now. Like I'm going to 3 cons in a month, so like, they're very conscious about that too.
Although one caveat to that, because I get this question a lot, is that we don't do manuscript previews through backer kit. We don't do that through Kickstarter. So if you really want to see the book the second it's available to the public, or at least the early drafts of it, then you got to go for the Kickstarter, because that's our reward for people who are early adopters.
But that's like $1, right?
Yeah, it's a very minimal buy-in.
For $1.
Right,
yeah.
so
they always have that. So.
You can throw that in the $1 and then get the manuscript if you decide you like it, and you have to wait till backer kit to
actually gets the full book. Yeah, absolutely. So I saw a hand up over here.
I was going to say that you could do that because that's what I'm doing because I'm here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's a big experiment, and once we wrap up those 2 projects, we're going to sit down as a team and discuss it.
Yep.
And what worked, what didn't, and how to evolve our process from there. But we're really looking at how we can use these tools to get more books out to different audiences, work with different partners, and not have as many huge delays as we've had in some past years from Kickstarter to finished book, for example. And if that's the right tool set to make that happen, we're definitely going to use that.
Okay.
But as Eddie said, we're not going to run like 2 Chronicles of Darkness Kickstarters concurrently. A 5th edition Scarredlands book and a Chronicles of Darkness core book. We figure there might be enough of a breather between the 2.
Right.
And the best thing in my mind would be if somebody, sees that we've got these 2 Kickstarters going. Maybe they're a 5e fan, and they've never looked at Chronicles of Darkness. But they see that these things are going, and they say, "Oh, well, I'll throw $1 over here too," and look at what's going on. And now we've brought somebody new into the fold. Likewise, I'm sure there are plenty of people that play Chronicles of Darkness and haven't touched a D&D book ever or in 20 years, and maybe they'll go, "Oh, this Scarredland thing looks neat," and
Yep.
You know, but they don't have to feel like they're missing out if they don't do that.
Right.
And so to that end too, and this is more of a business thing too, or more of a customer thing, but because I backed, I'm sorry again. Every month now, I get, I think, 87 emails from Onyx Path that says, hey, we're just going to email you now at the end of the month that says what we're going to do. Would there be any way from a customer perspective for me to sign up to like one email?
You'd have to unsubscribe through the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's how you manage those emails.
Yeah.
So I had to do that too.
The reason we do that is a while ago we didn't do that at all.
Okay.
And
so many people were complaining that they didn't know about Kickstarter.
Raging hate mail.
Yeah.
Or how come you didn't tell me about what's going on now?
Yeah.
So
can't win truly.
So it's
right.
No, fair enough.
But see, he can delete. We can't give people information they didn't have access to. So
you can also keep because it's Kickstarter by Kickstarter. You can keep them piecemeal. So, like, let's say there was one Kickstarter you backed for $1. You weren't terribly interested in following up what's going on with the line next. Maybe I'll get it when it hits PDF. Maybe not. You just unsubscribe from the emails from that Kickstarter. But like, I backed Mage 20 ages ago, and I still get the emails from it because there's still a couple of rewards. I think 1 or 2 rewards left hanging out. I want to make sure I don't miss them. You know what I mean? So that you can really manage your experience at the level of which projects you still feel a need to follow and which projects you're still waiting for things for.
Honestly, it would be nice if Kickstarter allowed us to kind of merge campaigns, but that's not a
That said, a few projects, Fetch Quest, Monarchy's Mao,
Pugmire too.
No, not yet.
Well, I mean, it's very close to it.
I'm saying talking about the ones we've closed.
Oh yeah.
So there comes a point where we've fulfilled all the stretch goals, where we close out and we don't send any more messages from that one. So the only ones we're still sending monthly messages are the ones that still have stuff to deliver.
Right.
So Pugmire still has the anthology, for example, but then once that's out,
we'll close that too. Yeah. No, I was thinking more the fact that I'm migrating all the Pugmire updates pretty much to the Pirates Kickstarter at this point because the Pugmire one's a few years old. We have only one thing left, so rather than keep bombarding them, we're moving it all to the Pirates. That's going to give updates there.
Yeah. So as we finish, like Travis said, I think there's one Mage PDF yet to go out, and for Wraith there's Book of Oblivion and the anthology. And so once those are delivered, we'll shut down monthly updates from that one. So the list is getting smaller.
Yes.
But we're doing more Kickstarter.
Right, then it's going to grow, but it breathes.
Yeah.
Like rabbits.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Specifically at Gen Con, it can be really hard to get into games from Pathcast because there's too many of them. The working crew is great and all, but I mean those are great marketing tools. Have you guys thought about any way to expand?
We did. Here? We actually doubled the number of Wrecking Crew games this year.
It's like 66.
All sold out.
Yeah.
So that's a thing I'm going to examine for next year. How I don't want to double the number of games every year because that's a logistical
nightmare.
So here's what you do: just when you see Matt walking around Gen Con, because he's never busy, just grab him and say, "Hey, can you run a 6-hour long Chronicles of Darkness demo for?" I'm sure he will love to. Yeah.
Hey, you have a new nail gun target, just so you know.
I have 2 nail guns.
Great, so Onyx Pass can have 2 booths.
So we're going to look at that and how that sold out and what that means as for how more games are going to run. One of the things we're evolving this year is our convention presence as a whole. Like, we don't have a booth this year, which allowed us to go to UK Games Expo for the first time.
Yep.
And it's allowed us to expand our game options at PAX Unplugged in December this year. So we'll be running more games at more locations than we ever have. For Gen Con specifically, I have to look at how we can grow in a way that doesn't tax the team too much. Because there's a couple of awesome GMs in the Wrecking Crew that are running games from 9 a.m. to midnight every day.
Yeah.
I did that last year. It's not good.
Yeah. So I have to figure out how to expand in a way that doesn't break the team completely
Right.
yet offers more options.
Right.
So we're looking at a couple of different options. I've talked to a couple more gaming groups that like to run convention demos, and maybe we'll merge some groups together for certain events, or we'll spread out to even more conventions, so we can run games in multiple cities throughout the year.
We got about 5 minutes left. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. Do you know when the Hunter the Vigil Second Edition Kickstarter is going to happen? Do you have a timeline?
Sometime after JV.
Yeah. We usually announce whatever the next Kickstarter is at or wrap up of the current one.
Right.
And we have a whole bunch of books that are in a very similar stage of development right now.
Right.
Mummy, Hunter, Demigod, Victorian Mage is a little bit behind, but not so much. So it's like we have to figure out the strategy and also which teams are going to be available to be involved actively in their Kickstarter, answering
Right.
questions. And
Yeah, so we don't keep the stuff hidden to be jerks. It's that we want to make sure we're thoughtfully putting each campaign together, and also we have to build assets for each of these projects, and so that art has to come in to be able to get the assets together. So sometimes we don't know until about a month ahead of time which campaign we're ready to go live with. So we shoot for rough quarters and rough chunks of the year, but we can't confirm anything until it's step by step.
So, for example, Mike has a bunch of artists buying art for Deviant right now for the Deviant Kickstarter, and some of those same artists would be working on Hunter. So we can only ask them to draw so much at one time.
Right.
It's the hours in the day problem. And just to share like another little quick peek behind the curtain, because this was all very illuminating to me as a new developer. Onyx Path is a comparatively small company in terms of the number of people that are actually employed by Onyx Path. But even at that small number, that's not there. They're not as limber as you might expect them to be, because there are so many moving parts. You know what I mean? There's so many things that they have to manage. It's very easy when you're a fan of one line to go, well, why isn't Hunter just done?
Sure.
Because there's 4 other lines that people are fans of too.
I mean,
you know?
one time we did the math, and depending on how you slice it, if you're counting each line of New World Chronicles Darkness, each line of World of Darkness, we're responsible for like 37 lines.
Right. I mean, that's...
So it's a lot. And if we're doing new games on top of that, like Legend Lore and, Dystopia Rising, that adds even more.
Right. Plus the stuff where when it's internally generated, yes, there's more freedom to do it, but also there's
now approvals like from me and Rich.
Right. Yeah, it has to go through an approval process internally as well, but there's also the responsibility of not having someone to tell you when you're right or wrong. Like you have to figure out where right and wrong is as a whole, and then go through the approvals process.
Oh, don't worry, we'll
as
tell
opposed
you.
to right. I'm waiting for the angry emails as I'm sending in Scarlet's
We're not
material.
angry. We're just disappointed.
They're like, it's not 1999 anymore. You can't get away with that. Please.
All right, we got time for one more.
Yep.
So I really love the V5 line. How much of when you're developing stuff for the 20th anniversary, how much are you looking at with White Wolf on how that will affect maybe future lines that will come out when it comes to like the story and stuff, and making sure that they are still fit in the same world?
That is, to be perfectly honest, that's completely up to White Wolf. They were nice enough when we started doing Beckett's Jihad Diary. Beckett's Jihad Diary was originally intended to be a capstone for V1. It was meant to be, okay, we've done with V20, here's the cool book, thank you very much. They really loved what we did with it, and so they worked with us to turn it became a bridge product between V20 and V5. We would love to do more books like that with them, but they have to tell us where they're going so that we can get to there. But the realities of this kind of environment is that they may decide that not every line's going to get that segue.
True. That's with Wraith and stuff. It's like I would like to know: is this what's happening? Because we got the Nakata coming in,
right?
And those 2 lines kind of blur.
I think Wraith is a bit further down on their internal development list.
Right.
So we did get notes for Werewolf when we did Book of the Worm and Shattered Dream. So, I mean, those books have come out like a year or more ago, but they gave us some of their early notes about this kind of our thought board.
Right.
And that things could change because it's been a while since they originally thought about that. And
they restructured, new people were involved.
Right. So, Beckett's is the biggest example of the teams coordinating, but we're here for that. As they announce new stuff, we're going to be involved as much as they want us to in how we put out new books.
Right.
So Ghost Hunters, for example, is very specifically a 20th anniversary edition book. It's a supplement for all 5 20th anniversary lines. It is not a forward book because I've got 5 awesome 20th anniversary core books, and I'm going to make a supplement that somehow works with all of them.
And there's a wealth of content on the Storytellers Vault that's community generated that plugs some of these gaps. One of the things that was interesting, I got to work on the style guides for Hunter the Reckoning, Mummy, Demon the Fallen, and the Mortals overall for the Storytellers Vault.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to have some conversations with folks at White Wolf about what would Hunter V20 or Hunter 20th Anniversary Edition crammed into a page, what would that look like? So we got to have some conversations about that, and that made its way into those style guides, which are free on Storytellers Vault. So if you just wanted to run it, you can download that stuff.
Right. But to be clear, White Wolf has to. We would love to be able to work with them on that, but they have a lot of plates. Like, there is a Werewolf Apocalypse video game that's been announced. We don't know anything that's happening with that game because it's not our business. They have their own project. They have the process. I don't know how much that video game is influencing their thoughts on Werewolf, how much Werewolf 20 is influencing thoughts on Werewolf. They need to be the central point to look at all these projects they licensed and all these people they're working with and come up with a consistent vision and then work with us to make sure it happens. So stuff we wrote 5 years ago may not make sense for that vision they need. So it's not they're being jerks about it. It's that they have a lot more of the picture they can see that we can't.
Right. I just wondered if that you would send it for approval and they'll say change this because of this or something.
Yeah, no, that does happen on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
And also we certainly we would love to work on other. We pitched lots of books, and sometimes they say you can't do this because of reasons we can't discuss. But this thing they're really excited about Chicago. They really want to push Chicago forward because that really fit within their plans. So sometimes it goes the other way, where it's like, please do this now. Like I said, they got off on vacation to make sure Chicago by Night went out. So, I mean, sometimes they're really excited about stuff we do. They love Beckett's. And particularly White Wolf loves Beckett's, too. They really love it.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah,
if people want to grab any of these announcements, and I have a couple of Scion 2nd Edition posters, but not very many. Unfortunately, I don't have enough for everybody.
So thank you all very much. And we're back.
Are we truly back?
So, a peek behind the curtain is we record the intro and outro as one file. So I wait for a moment where there's silence so I can actually put the rest of the episode in. So I was like, wait, hold on. Okay, there we go.
You have destroyed the illusion, Mr. Webb.
Yes, I know. I have ruined it. I'm cast out of the Magician's Guild now.
Yeah, there may have been one listener who thought that all three of us attentively listened to whatever medium block of audio we had. We were just listening there. We were just sat. Yeah, right, okay, wow. And then we get to the end and talk about it in real time.
Yep. Well, Edwin, I'm sure, is very disappointed to learn that.
No, he wouldn't listen to this. He's got much better taste. He watches Mr. Bean.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, for audio, definitely more so than this.
The Mr. Bean podcast. Just an hour of silence.
I don't know if anybody else, by the way, but if any of us sound tired or a little loopy, we are, I think, all just back from conventions.
Yes.
And trying to catch up with the world.
I have no excuse.
You were at a convention recently.
Yeah, I was last week. And you know what? Just to date this, because we always do, we're recording this a day before it goes up. So, yes, I was at a convention last week, and you two were at conventions the end of last week and the beginning of this. So, well, good God, our information is actually correct.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like you were in Scotland and I was in Seattle and Dixie was in Atlanta and then I was back in Atlanta, so we actually got to see each other briefly, so that was nice.
Yeah, we got to hang out. It was fun. We got to walk around Dragon Con for a little bit together.
Yeah, it was cool.
I got to show Eddie all the changes since he last went forever ago.
Right, back in the before time.
Back in the before time. What is the before time?
It would be before I got laid off, so probably around 2009.
Yeah.
Sound of violins in the background. No one popped over to Scotland to see me, did they?
It's true, we did not.
I always tell people whenever they say, like, why didn't you come to the, like, buy me a ticket. I'll be there. You got to pay for the plane ticket from, the U.S. to Scotland. I'll be right there.
When they start paying me your salary as well as mine, I will gladly pay for your occasional ticket.
I get to see all my Scottish friends that convert for Dragon Con because there's actually a pretty decent contingent of UK and European folks who fly over to Atlanta for Dragon Con most years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And a bunch of them are in the Borderlands cosplay group that I haven't done recently that I used to do. And they are all super nice and super fun. And then sometimes they get a little drunk and I can no longer understand them very well.
That is true.
I am very good with Scottish accents usually, but one of my friends is from Glasgow, and just sometimes he has a few too many, and I'm like, Steve. I don't know what you're saying. I just start nodding. I'm like, yep. Sounds great.
I went to Edinburgh again about 5-10 years ago with a mate of ours from Glasgow, and we walked by. We were at the castle looking around, and we walked by someone. The guard starts yelling at us, and so of course I didn't hear what he said, and I turned to Michelle. It's like I didn't hear what he said. She's like, I didn't hear what he said. So we turned to our friend from Glasgow. He's like, I had no fucking clue. It's like, right, okay, good. We're all on the same page here. That accent was way too thick.
I do want to shout out though. I did not get this person's name, unfortunately, because I met too many people over the weekend. But someone did stop me in the food court at Dragon Con one day to say they were a fan of the Pathcast. And they recognized me. So it was really cool. So thank you for stopping, saying hi. That was awesome. I always love it when that happens at like a con that we're not like boothing at. Mm-hmm. Like if I just go somewhere randomly and they're like, oh, hey, it's you. Even just walking around like Gen Con last year, I had like at least one person who was like, oh, I recognized your voice. And I was like, that's weird to hear. But
yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where that was. I had that happen to me. Don't think it was Gen Con last year. I had the exact same experience, though, that someone recognised my voice from the Pathcast. And it just genuinely came as a bit of a shock. I think it was Expo this year, wasn't it? I think
it was Expo, yeah.
No one recognised your voice, Eddie. Of course, that's completely undistinctive.
Right.
Or indistinct.
Just generic American accent, yeah.
Yeah. No one... Everyone sounds like you. But I said, oh, you're that guy from the Onyx Pathcast. Yep, I'm that guy. Thanks for listening.
Just sign an autograph that guy.
It's me, the British one. Like,
I'm the one with a dry sense of humor.
But actually, I had a similar experience at PAX Dev. I went to a really cool panel, and the two people at the panel were very exciting and engaging. They're talking about self-employment. So afterwards, I went up and was chatting with them a little bit. And I, as usual, in this case, I give them my business card. It's like, hey, if we have more to talk about. And look at my card, and they go, oh, you're the Eddie Webb. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, is that good or bad? And they're like, oh, no, we just started learning how to play Vampire the Masquerade recently. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, great. And they're like, yeah, our storyteller is Jacob Burgess. I'm just like, oh.
Was it Ryan and Akash and all them?
It was, yes. It was like Ryan and Akash.
Love Ryan and Akash. Sorry.
I didn't connect in my head because I was like so into like, okay, I'm at a video game con, blah, blah. I just didn't connect the names. And then they're like, yes, you're that Ryan and Akash. Like, yes, and you're that Eddie Webb. It's like, yes, cool. We're all now aware of who we are. Right.
Also, I saw on Twitter where apparently you gave them pointers of how to seriously probably annoy or mess with Jacob because that's what we do with our friends.
Yes. I cannot reveal them, unfortunately, because they involve secret stuff of books that are not released yet.
I don't I don't want them revealed. I just think it's great.
Yes, no, actually, I was trolling Jacob, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I need to send more people after you, Eddie, that say, you're the guy that ruined Vampire.
Yes.
Or, you're the guy with the funny dog game. Always goes down well.
To be fair, actually, I did have a few people at PAX Dev. They're like, oh, you're the Pugmire guy. And I'm just like, wow, really? Okay, cool. That's exciting, but not what I expected. it's exciting to just hear that people are enjoying our games. Like I said, people are talking about Vampire, and people are talking about Pugmire, people are talking about Chronicles of Darkness. I know people are really excited about Deviants. So I mean, it's nice sometimes to go to these shows and just hear, oh yeah, people actually really are looking forward to our stuff or really love our stuff. Can
I just say that I saw some of the art for Deviant very recently, and I am now even more excited for it.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know if you looked through all the art, but super good.
No, I haven't yet, but I know you worked really hard in those art notes. So
I did, and it's always interesting to see how artists translate what you wrote, because I wrote some stuff that was very specific, but sometimes they would change things a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I still really like that actually. That's more dynamic. Thank you, good job. Yep. I know that specifically the person who was doing the art for the fiction that you wrote, Eddie, was there's a lot of this one guy yelling at the other guy, and I'm like, yeah, that happens a lot in this story.
It does happen a lot.
but he ended up doing some really interesting, slightly, because we do slightly more abstract stuff for our chapter art usually, and all the stuff he did looks really cool. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. I'm into it.
Sweet, I'll have to dig into that then.
Yeah.
In pretty much every book I have written art notes for now, I have tried to get a piece made, and clearly Mike has cottoned onto the fact that I am submitting the same art note for every single game, where I want the depiction of someone being crushed. Don't know why. I don't know why this is my thing.
What?
But I think it's a horror image you don't often see. Someone being just squished beneath rocks, beneath a big flat surface, with an arm outstretched, fingers towards the point of view, that sort of thing. And I imagine it's either never been picked up because Mike just looks at it and goes, idiot. or he knows there's not really a good way to depict that, because although crushing is a kinetic thing, it's quite difficult to depict that kind of motion in an illustration. But one day I will get my art piece in of someone being crushed, hopefully to get blood squeezed out of them, because we've got blood bathers in the Immortals section of Mummy the Cursed 2nd edition. So I can think it's probably a very inefficient way to extract blood from someone, isn't it? Pulping them. I mean, blood will come out, but I assume it's... once upon a time, I worked in an abattoir. It's Anecdotes with Matthew Dawkins time again.
Anecdote time.
Yeah, it was one of my first jobs. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. I can absolutely see why people become vegan. I'm not, but I can see why anyone would give up meat once you've been exposed to all of that. Forewarning for anyone listening, for anyone who is particularly sensitive to these issues, and you have every right to be, I will be talking about them, let's say for 2 minutes. So prepare yourself, Dixie and Eddie. Feel free to take your headphones out if you don't want to hear it. There's a lot of blood involved in butchery. Yeah, there you go.
That was 2 minutes?
No,
that was over 2 minutes just now.
No, it's... and it just brings to mind that if you have creatures like Bloodbathers or immortals like Bloodbathers in a game of Chronicles of Darkness or World of Darkness or any horror game, they really are very unethical. I know that's perhaps a little too weak a point, but the sheer amount of death that they would have to cause to get as much blood as they would need to bathe in it, blood of presumably a nice, clear quality as well. It would be horrendous working for one of these people. It would be horrible playing one of these people in a role-playing game, so they're not actually presented as playable, at least not in the core book. So, yeah, when I was developing that text for Mummy the Cursed 2nd edition, my mind was just going back to working in the abattoir. And I was only very briefly ever responsible for putting any animals down. Right. Or I guess, to be blunt, slaughtering animals. But that alone was enough to leave me with a disposition for life that made me think, okay, well, I never want to do this again. This is not for me. This takes a certain kind of mind to be able to grow comfortable with this. And it's not mine. So all credit to the people who can do it. and deliver us tasty steaks and whatnot if that's your thing. But yeah, wow, Bloodbathers and Mummy the Curse. Look forward to them. They're horrible.
It reminds me, my wife Michelle, she has a master's in anthropology, specifically in physical anthropology. So she studies bones for fun. But when she was doing her master's, she, got some training that was basically, crime scene analysis, physical analysis. And also she went abroad to Spitalfields to study some physical remains, Spitalfields.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, cool. She's going to look at dry bones. And she's like, no. Some of the stuff was preserved. And so she described to me the wonderful world of coffin liquor, which is the goo that, when your body decomposes, that kind of just sits around and hangs out.
Yeah.
And she was describing it to me, and it's just like, honey, you are way cooler than I could ever possibly be, because I would not be able to handle that smell, that the thought of that at all.
I mean, she is pretty cool.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. Hopefully I'll see her again at Midwinter next year.
We'll try.
Is she intending on coming?
We'll try. She's
Bring
just cheap
Michelle.
shops. So.
I'm going to sign a petition.
You should do that. She actually, I think, really like that.
We want Michelle at Midwinter because she's great.
We'll pass it around the office. See if we can get a whip round and a present.
Well, if people wanted to talk to you guys about signing that petition to get my wife to Midwinter, where would they contact you at, Dixie?
That's a great segue.
I know, right?
I'm at Dixie Cyanide most places on the internet. I also have a website, dixiecochran.com. That's me. I'm easy
Matthew?
to find. Find me on Twitter. Say hi.
You can find me on MatthewDawkins.com. There's a helpful contact me button on there, which I recommend you use if you're looking to start streaming on the Onyx Path Twitch channel, or if you just have any questions in general, including the best way to break up a chicken. I can still cut up meat pretty proficiently. I have a lovely set of knives. Ooh. And I would be happy to help anyone with that. Oh, and on that note, I'm not usually a big fan of Gordon Ramsay, but there is an excellent video of him breaking up a chicken blindfolded, and I recommend you check it out if you're ever interested in butchering a chicken yourself.
And as for me, I'm not very good at butchering a chicken, but otherwise you can talk to me. My website is pugsteady.com. There's also have a contact me button on there. My social media links are on there, so you can find me there for my professional accounts. You can find The Onyx Path, of course, at theonyxpath.com. We have a Discord. We have a Twitch channel now, which is doing really well, from what I understand. We now have emotes in Twitch, which is great.
Emotes.
We do.
We have a little kind of Onyx Path logo with a heart in it, and now we have a D10 with a 10 on it. So
the heart was my idea, and then Ian made it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, no, you did a great job, and very cool, the idea.
It looks so much cooler than I thought it was even going to look. I'm like, it's a cute Onyx Path heart. I want it on a t-shirt.
Did Ian make the Followers of Senpai logo? You know the Followers of Senpai logo. I know we were about to sign off.
But let's digress,
Yeah, why not? If you've not seen this, viewers, check out Ian's Twitter. I think is he Von Aether on Twitter as well? He occasionally posts up lovely pieces of art that he just comes up with. He seems to be a master of Photoshop and photo editing. And he made a Followers of Senpai clan logo, and it's my favourite thing right now. It's got a lovely blushing set head, and it's
and like one big anime
with
eye.
the tear, the tear in the corner of his eye.
You haven't seen this, Eddie?
No, I haven't.
Aren't you friends with Ian? How have you not seen this?
I was at a convention and I missed it. Oh my god!
The Followers of are so kawaii, all those lovely cultists.
Yeah, but he's posted it before. Is the thing? Like, it's not the first time that I've seen it.
I still may have missed it.
It's pretty great.
I'll definitely look it up. So yeah, shout out to Ian's Twitter account. Also, just usually fun to run. I mean, if he's not trolling one of us, he's posting just amazing stuff. So he's Von Aether at Twitter. And Monday meeting notes going up every week, so definitely check that out if you want to know the status of something that we didn't answer in this panel. So, as always, many worlds, one Pathcast.